Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online PTS test video with me, Sherman. Today guys, I'm gonna go through the process of what I do to make a character. I want you guys to see this, so you guys might pick up on a few things, you might be able to come up with your own ideas, that kind of stuff, because one of the things that's so great about this game is being able to use your imagination. And it's one of the things that a lot of people don't know how to tap into that creative aspect of themselves and use. And it's mainly because a lot of people never played, don't remember playing make-believe when they were kids, or don't remember using their imagination as a kid, because as you grow up and you become an adult, that kind of stuff goes away because you become an adult. You have to take on responsibilities and other things that take away from you using your imagination. And unfortunately, this can detrimentally change how people perceive things. One of the things you have to understand about playing a role-playing game of any kind, it doesn't matter whether it's pen and paper, console, PC, whatever, it's called, and it's really interesting, it's called theater of the mind. And it's basically using your imagination to follow the story, using your imagination to become enveloped in the characters that you play, becoming part of their personality, their actions, the way they play. And it can be really hard for some people to do that because they don't have, they just don't have the imagination anymore. Like I said, a lot of people lose that stuff when you become an adult, because you're basically trained from childhood that a lot of the things that you do as a child goes against what you do to be an adult. So I'm on PTS right now, and I'm just going to go through the process of what I do to make a character. So I already created the concept of this character, and I really wanted to see how far I could push the boundaries with the character. Okay? So I'm going to show you guys first off. It's called the Tempered Barbarian Tank. Now, I know a lot of people are going to look at this and say, what in the hell is this guy doing? So it's a Nord Warden. Now, the reason I chose a Nord is one of my main characters on the live servers is a Nord. And the whole idea behind this character type is a character that is resilient, is tempered basically, to basically having a lot of endurance, okay? To take like a beating, and also to dish it out. So the idea behind the Barbarian itself is not Conan. Okay, Conan was a completely different thing. That plays a lot into the perspective, though, because a lot of the things from the Conan or the writings of Robert E. Howard, when he wrote Conan and stuff, a lot of that stuff was carried over into pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons when they incorporated the Barbarian class. The Barbarian class is pretty much just that. It's a classification or a title used to classify the character type. And that's basically what I use my character names for in my PTS builds, is I use them to give a characterization or a classification to what I'm building. So a Tempered Barbarian. Think about this now for a second. Conan was more of a resilient warrior. He didn't have to wear armor if he didn't want to, because he was that good. He was that powerful because of his training and everything that he went through to get to where he was in the end, when he became king of Aquilonia and everything else. All that stuff that he went through was his progression to get to that point. Everything you do in a role-playing game is progression of your character. So, I'm going to go ahead and start progressing my character on the PTS. And like I said, guys, I have this stuff down to an art form. It only takes me literally minutes to do. I already know exactly kind of how I want this character to work out in the end, but I want to take you guys through the process so you guys can see for yourselves. Again, you have to understand, I am on PTS, and I know this stuff inside and out because I spend a lot of time here. Way more than I should, probably. So, the first thing is that I'm going to grab I'm going to grab a mount. And for this character, I'm just going to go with the standard horse. I think I'm going to go with we'll go with the surreal horse here. Let's go back. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go through the process of learning my mount stuff because I can speed through this. But the whole idea here of creating a character in any role-playing game is character development. How do you want that character to develop? How do you want them to turn out? What do you want them to do? How good do you want them to be at what they do? So the first thing is that you've got to remember that playing a character, no matter what you play, you never know how well it's going to work until you play it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a set from one of the areas of the game, either Overland, Dungeons, or Trials. I'm actually going to use an Overland set for this because there's one that I really want to try out for the Tempered Barbarian. Like I said, Tempered means resilient, you can take a beating, that kind of stuff. And I had an idea for it, and I want to just try it out. So this is how a lot of this stuff happens with me, how I test a lot of stuff, is I come up with an idea. I theorize it on paper. And the idea behind this is pretty much what I'm doing right now. So the Pariah set gives max health, spell and physical resist on the 3 and 4 piece, and on the 5 piece. It increases your physical and spell resistance by up to 11,000 based on your missing health. So I figured this set would be really good for a resilient type of barbarian character because as they're taking damage, they're becoming stronger and stronger and more resilient to the effects of the damage. And this is kind of them. The idea is a barbarian goes into a rage, and when they go into that rage, it's not that they lose identity or anything. They just become very strong at what they do. So the whole premise here is I want a character that can tank with medium armor. So that's the other reason why I chose a Nord, was Nords get that resilience built into them. And the reason I chose the Warden is because I play a Warden, and I figured that would be the best class character type to play for this. Because of the fact that they get a lot of really interesting, unique buffs and things like that built into the class, along with some other stuff. So we're going to start here. This is the basic character creation concept. Is we come up with an idea on where we want to get our characters to. Never start at the beginning, always start at the end. Now I know what you guys are going, what? Always start with your character's finished product. So this way you get an idea of what you want to build to. Write it out on paper. Do whatever it takes. But find what works best for you. Okay? For me, it is writing it out on paper. I already wrote this out. I already know what what enchants I want to use, what traits, Mundus Stone, all that stuff, to make this build work properly. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go get me a crafted set, and the set I want to use is called Hunting's Rage. So I'm going to ride over to the crafting station for that. Because I feel Hunting's Rage would really play well into the concept of a heavy-hitting, survivable, durable person. Okay, this person is, like I said, they're meant to take a beating. They're also, to be a tank in most games, you have to be resilient. You have to be able to take a beating, but you also have to be able to do other things. So that's kind of the concept here, is I'm creating the character to work to a certain demeanor or a certain way, and I'm playing around with that idea. The best way to, as I like to say it, unlock the imagination or to unlock the theater of the mind is play pen and paper, because it will help so much more in helping you to understand the idea of theater of the mind. Theater of the mind is basically unlocking or untapping the use of your imagination in a way that you've never even ever experienced. Because imagine watching a play where all you hear is the story. You hear everything like that. It would be kind of like the old classic radio shows from back in the early 20s and 30s, like The Shadow or Dick Tracy or things like that. Before they became serial shows in the theaters, or serial stuff in the theaters, and then later got added to TV and stuff, they started out as radio shows. And they allowed people to untap their imagination so they could see beyond. Basically, they could hear the stuff going on, but it allowed them to use their imagination to see and picture what was going on. Using your imagination is just that. It allows you to untap the potential your brain has hidden in the background. And it allows you to do things and see things that you don't normally see. So let's go ahead and get started with the gear here. So I'm going to go ahead and I already know, like I said, what armor type and everything I want to use. But before I can do that, I have to unlock my skills to do that. So I don't need woodworking because I'm going to be making clothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the process of unlocking the skills I want this character to learn in the crafting aspect. So I will do tailoring because I'm going to be using a lot of leather armor and stuff. Again, it really just depends. I mean, some people might see the way I do things and go, wow, that's really weird, kind of thing. Because a lot of people, again, are used to seeing the meta. And I have nothing against the meta like a lot of people think. I don't really care for the meta because I like to have diversity in my characters. I like to have unique characters. I like to have characters that play the way I want them to play, not to the restrictions or the guidelines of somebody else's design. And the reason I share so many of my ideas with the community is because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't have, and it's not that they don't have the imagination, they just forgot how to use it. And they don't know how to create the kind of character they want to play. They have an idea, but they don't know how to get it there. And that's where people like myself and many others come in, is we help you to understand that premise or that concept. I'm going to go ahead and unlock my racials also. Alright, so I just stole something. So let's go ahead and get this started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a chess piece. And I'm going to create it reinforced. This is going to allow me to have a little bit more survivability, resilience, things like that. And this is just a habit of mine. Is I test a lot of different options, to be honest. But I always start with a basis, so I can get a general idea of how my character is going to look when I get them to where I'm going. Now on the live servers, it's a lot different. I don't have these tools to create the kind of character I want right away. I have to invest the time it takes me to level the character from 1 to 50, and during that time I'm going to go through a lot of iteral changes in my character and how they play, because I'm going to gain access to more and more stuff. This just allows me to do it instantly, pretty much. So going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and improve it. I'm just going to go through the process of what I do on the PTS real quick, guys. You guys can, sit here quietly or listen to me ramble, whatever. But this is pretty much what I do. When I get on PTS and I have a theorized idea, I get on PTS, I make that build, and then I test it. So this might end up being a little bit longer video than normal because of how I'm going to do things. Mainly because I'm going to test the whole build. I'm not going to go through the process of just creating it. I'm going to actually create it and test it and everything else. And I just made a mistake. See, and a lot of people don't realize everyone will make mistakes, regardless of who you are. So, don't think I'm perfect at what I'm doing. I'm not. I get ahead of myself a lot. That just happens to be one of my character flaws, is I do think a lot. So my thoughts get ahead of what I'm doing, and then I forget that I'm doing something else, when in reality I was meaning to do that. So, alright. But yeah, and it is hard, like I said, for people to use their imagination, because again, we're all taught that once we get to a certain age, like the imagination we can't use anymore because we're adults. We're not meant to use it in the same way that we did as children, you know, running around playing out cops and robbers, or cowboys and Indians, or aliens versus, you know, whatever, space marines, whatever your imagination came up with when you're a child. We learn as we grow older that that stuff's childish and that it's meant for kids. It's okay to use your imagination even as an adult. When you read a book, you use your imagination, because a lot of people when they read books, visualize the story. This is taking that same premise but putting it into a video game. Okay, using your imagination to create the kind of character you want to play within the game's world. So, again, I understand a lot of people don't have access to doing what I'm doing because they don't have PTS or access to the PTS. But understand this, I don't do this on the PTS. I create everything outside of the PTS. I create it on paper. I use websites like the Wiki, ESO sets, different things like that, different tools to create the idea. Then I take the idea and I put it on the PTS and create it in its final form so I can see what the outcome looks like, so I can go, okay, this is what I want to build my character to on the live server. And then the same thing goes with you guys. If you guys see a build that you want to play, make your, start teaching your character into that aspect. And that's basically what you're doing. You're teaching the character how to become that. You're learning the skills necessary to play that character. You're gaining the gear sets and the tools necessary to play that character. All that stuff. So, we're this far in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a monster set. Now, I did have an idea for a monster set. I was thinking Krogs, but I think I'm going to go with Silistrix on this one. And the reason I think that is because it's going to give me a better option at being tanky, or offering me some capabilities of being more of a tank, because it's going to have CC, crowd control in the monster set. Now, I don't need a heavy helm. I need a medium helm, and I need a medium shoulders, because I'm already wearing a heavy and light piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on. This is what my character looks like now. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to get armor enchants, and we're going to equip those armor enchants to give us a better stat pool, if you will. So I'm going to grab 3 prismatics, because this is just my, like I said, I do a standard setup, and I just copy it with every character type, with every character build. I just copy and paste it, basically. So we're going to go ahead and do this real quick. Enchant, prismatic. And I made these into the traits that I wanted to use. These ones I do have to change at the transmutation station, along with the weapons and the jewelry. So I got my 3 tri-stats in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and enchant the rest of this. This already has a max stam, but I, for some reason, just out of habit, always replace it. Alright, now I've done my racials, I've done all the other stuff, I've got my enchants in there. I'm also going to do my jewelry enchants while I'm waiting here. So, with this, I have to think about how do I want this character to work, what kind of tools do I want them to use to benefit them. Now remember, this character is meant to be resilient, but they're also stamina based, so I'm going to get a stam recovery. And I'm going to put it on the necklace. The reason I put it on the necklace is because this way I have one thing with recovery on it, so I can build into that later. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the jewelry. And I know that I want this person to be able to do some decent damage, so I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 of these physical weapon enchants and enchant the jewelry pieces with those. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set my food up. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. And if you guys are wondering why I only grab certain things, is because I'm only going to be using those certain things in the build itself. So, now I'm going to go ahead and do the weapon enchants. Now remember, this character will be a tank, but it's also, they're a barbarian. They're kind of like, they're berserking rage warriors. They do all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to grab specific things here to use in my design here. So I need a crusher. because they're still going to be a tank. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to enchant this with a weapon damage enchant. I'm going to enchant this with the absorb stamina, and I'm going to put this with the crusher enchant. Now the reason I put the weapon damage enchant on the front bar, I will be changing this to infused so I can get that higher weapon damage potential, and I will be changing this to defending instead of anything else. I usually would go Nernhoned and something else here, but because this is more of a tank character, I wanted to have some tank aspects. Now right now I'm already at 21k spell and physical resistance, so I might not go defending here yet because I'm not done setting the rest of my stuff. I want to do that first. So let me go ahead and do my skills, not my CP. And I'm just going to go through the process of what I do here so you guys can see for yourselves. And I screwed up already, but that's okay, because I meant to take Resolving Vigor instead. And this is just skills and abilities that I unlock, and it's become a habit now. It's just unlocking all the skill lines, everything. Because I've become so accustomed to doing this and testing like all these different options within a build. So and yes, I do pick specific skills to go with specific build types, things like that. And it's just become because there's a lot of different options here, so I like to try different things, but at the same time I know all the skills again because I spend so much time on PTS. And then I've been asked, why do you unlock all the skills if you're not using them all? Again, guys, the reason I unlock all the skills is because you never know what skills you will use, because I will test all the different skill combinations to find out what works best for me. So I'm not going to worry about that one because I already have my own like pole ability. Go ahead and grab Barb Trap. We're going to go up here to World Skills, and yes, again, I do everything. I grab certain things because I want to try different stuff with the build. And this is a medium armor build, so we're going to take the ones that reflect that type of setup. Two-handed, Berserking Rage, Wrecking Blow, Stampede. We are going to go with Carve here, and we are going to go with Executioner Strike, and we are going with Momentum on this. And I'm going with Momentum because they changed how Rally and Momentum work. They no longer do a heal over time, which kind of irritates me, but at the same time I get why they did that. A lot of people were taking advantage of that in PvP. And a lot of us were taking advantage of it in PvE, especially as solo players. I'm going to go with Thriving Chaos. Here I'm going to go with Bloodthirst, Rending Slashes. I'm going to go with Whirling Blades this time. I like Quick Cloak for this one because this one's going to be a very agile character, so I want that. I am going to get the Wild Guardian. All the stamina morphs. I like that Fletcher Infection. We're going to go with Bullnetch and Bird of Prey. I'll go with Legion on that one. Permafrost. Ice Fortress. Gripping Shards. Polar Wind. Arctic Blast is lame now. And I'm going to go with Shimmering Shield for this. And we are going to get the Frozen Device. Alright. Make sure I got all this stuff unlocked. Alright. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and teleport now back to my home. This way I can finish up the build design with the transmutation station and everything else. So I still got to do my weapon enchants because I haven't done those yet. Or, or not my weapon enchants, my traits on my jewelry and my weapons. So I'm going to reset those real quick. I'm going to look at where my character sits, and then I'm going to do my CP. I'm also going to set skills too. Now again, when you make a character, it's about using your imagination to create the kind of character you would like them to turn out to be. A lot of people use reference material for this. A lot of people want to be things like, oh, I want to be like Lancelot from Knights of the Round Table. I want to be like King Arthur. I want to be like Gandalf or Aragon, or even characters I'm not going to mention from certain books. So... but a lot of people do that as well. That's kind of normal for people to do that. Now, I don't need to do the one thing that I was mentioning, so I'm going to go ahead and make this Nirnhone. Because I can already tell you my resistances are going to be pretty high with this when I get it done. So, just need to change the monster helm to... well, we're going to go with Invigorating, but because we have the bug... where they didn't give us enough geode stones, they give us 199, not 200. We go ahead and do this. And we're going to go Invigorating there, because the reason I'm doing Invigorating, guys, so I can get a little bit more recovery out of my character. Okay, the Locket of Pariah, we're going to go with Bloodthirsty. We're also going to go with the Trirune. And I keep getting asked why Trirune. It's just so I can get more attributes to my character. Alright, now that I've done that stuff, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish off with my character's champion points. So, going in here, we're going to do the whole standardized setup that I use. Oops. Yes, I even make mistakes here, guys. And you guys can see for yourselves. I have this, like, pretty much well established where I put my points, how I place them, everything like that. Alright, so this is what my stats look like unbuffed. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Well, actually, let's do this first. Let's get the rest of our stuff done. So, we have our food placed. We have all this stuff done. The only thing we need to do is see where our stats sit with the different foods. So, with our tank food, 24, 22. So, what we'll do is we'll take this up to 40. That should put us... let's do 44. Okay, let's do 50. There we go. Now we can put this in here. Now we're more set up or geared for tanking. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back in to my skills now, and I'm going to set everything up how I want them. So I always start with my weapon line. I like Ringing Slashes, so I'm going to put Ringing Slashes here. I'm going to put Bloodthirsty here. Those are two skills I will be using. And on the two-handed side, I will be using the Carve and probably most likely Stampede for when I'm tanking. Now, gonna go down to the Undaunted skill line. I'm gonna grab my Inner Rage, which will be my taunt. It will go right here. I'm gonna put Vigor right there so I have a heal over time. And then I'm also gonna grab Spike Bone Shield to put right there. Now you guys are probably wondering, what about my class skills? And that's all I'm going to grab from my class skills. I'm also going to swap where Warhorn is. I'm going to put it on the back bar. And Fighters Guild, we are going to grab the Dawnbreaker. And this is how we're going to test the build. Now, I've got that done. I want to change the look. I hate looking like this, so as you guys can see, it just looks gawky, is what I like to say. We're gonna go with more of a barbarian look. Don't like it. Looks too weird. Let's just go with that one. We'll change the shoulders to something that. Change the chest piece. I have this one chest piece I like to use, the Minotaur one, because it looks really cool. So, do the same thing with the this. Now when it comes to the weapons, I'm going to give them my own choices here. We'll go with... let's see what that looks like. We'll go with that one. Yeah, I like the Dwarven sword, looks good. And we're going to leave the battle axe as is. We're going to go with the same one. So this is the Malakath, I believe. Yes, it is. And what we're going to do is you know what, we're not even going to die. We're just going to leave it as is. I am going to turn off my helm. Mainly because I don't like it. And then what we're going to do is we've got our food going, we've got our other stuff. But I always get nerve-wracked by that. Alright, so the build's set up. Completely done. Skills, CP, everything. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it into a dungeon, I'm going to test it in a dungeon, then I'm going to test it in a trial. Just like I do with all my other stuff. That's why I said this video is going to be a little bit longer. I wanted to show you the process of the build itself, and then I wanted to show you the process of me testing it, so you can see the whole thing in one video. And this way I can also go over this whole imagination, using the theater of the mind, that kind of stuff to create the kind of character you want. Now remember, this is called the Tempered Barbarian. So when I buff this character up now, just so you guys can see, I go to 29/29 spell and physical resist with nothing else. I don't even have a Mundus Stone equipped yet, so I'm going to look at my stuff here, and I'm going to go with the one that I think is going to best attribute to me. Now I could go with health, but this character is primarily going to be an off tank, so I'm actually going to go with Thief Mundus Stone because this is going to give me higher crit value. This is going to allow for me to do not only greater DPS, but it's also going to allow my vigor to work better because I can crit heal for more. That means I can apply more, a little bit more to my group. So, alright, so let's go ahead and jump over to a dungeon. And this time I'm just going to go with the Moongrave Fane dungeon. Last time I did the Malakath's, or Lair of Mars Select. I'm going to try it with this one. Now, I'm going to test this in there, and then I'm going to go to the Sunspire and test it in there. And we're just going to see how well this can hold up to being more of an aggressive tank, basically. I might even change out to Quick Cloak on the Rapid Strikes.
nothing. But hollow promises.
Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Go ahead and get my buffs going. So this is holding up pretty good. It's not as good as I thought it would be, but it's still working out. And remember, I don't even need that buff for my resistances, because my resistances actually grow based on the amount of damage I take, so I can actually get a lot more out of this character. Oops, wrong button. Without that, because the more damage I take, the less damage I'll take, because my resistance will go up. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. I don't really need it. So I'm going to actually go to the two-handed side, see if there's anything I can use from there. No. I'm going to go to animal companions. Nothing really there. I could probably use this, because this I can get an extra heal for myself, so...
This one does not see the point of such a thing.
Does it not have pain? What more reason does the sheep need?
Okay. So, it seems to work out pretty well, to be honest. I know a lot of people are probably going to look at this and be like, that's pretty cheesy, blah, 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 but that's not what I care about. I don't care what people say. I primarily care about how the character plays. So, we can see it works here. So, what I want to do now is I want to take it to Sunspire, because I want to test it in that environment to see how it holds up in a trial. Remember, a trial plays differently than a dungeon. A dungeon is made for 4 people. A trial is made for 12. So if I can go in and withstand a dungeon that's made for 4 people as my tank, without really too much to it, I could probably do the same in a trial, which is required for 12 people. Now, people will tell you that this build, because of veteran content, this or that, blah, blah, blah. Veteran content and normal content, there is a difference, but the difference is the damage you take and the health of the enemies. That's it. It's more difficult because of that. Hard mode is when you fight a boss encounter that you activate the hard mode on. That's it. So the hard mode, it only applies to bosses. And this is the first time in this trial where they made it every boss can be hard mode. So. I knew I was forgetting something. Potions. And I died. But that's okay. It works out. And I see that it can work out. Now, again, not everyone is going to be able to play this effectively. You have to learn to play a build. A build doesn't play itself. It plays based on the player's ability to play it. So you have to learn to play a build. And the best way to do that is learn while you're progressing your character through content. Learn the abilities. Learn their tools. Learn their stuff. Play the content for that purpose so you can learn how to play the character. Play through the story. Play through the overland. Play through the public dungeons, the delves, that kind of stuff against world bosses. Learn how to play your character effectively. That way when you get to higher levels and you get to higher capability and playing your character better, when you get higher CP, you get all these other tools and everything, and you gain access to more sets and stuff like that, you can see how effective they really can be. So that is it for the video though, guys. I just wanted you guys to see for yourselves the kind of stuff I go through in the process of making a build. And this is just one idea out of many that I will be testing throughout the PTS cycle. This is one of maybe 10 or 15 or more builds I'll make during just this week. I'll probably make anywhere between 20 to 25 builds this week to try different things. Just to, again, to get a general idea of how things will work in the new update in Scalebreaker. So, but that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you guys want to see other stuff, keep an eye on my channel. But other than that, you guys know what's coming next. If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.